Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the podcast. I'm your co-host M2 Dave, and I'm here with my co-hosts Rio,
What's
Tom
up, guys? It's
Brady,
Rio.
and Zyphox.
What's up,
What's up,
guys?
everybody? What's going on?
And we have I'm really excited about this because we wanted this co-host for such a long time. Um, he finally found his way to us, and everybody say hi to Slips. It's so good to have you.
Hey
What's
y'all.
up?
I remember when Slips used to play MK2,
That
like
no,
way
he's
Oh
back.
yeah,
man, that was
Like,
a good time.
I don't
on
know
the
if you remember
PS3.
the old classic PS3 version of
That
MK2,
was
which doesn't exist
actually a
anymore.
really fun time for me. I actually really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was fun, and they used to have something like that for UMK3 on Xbox.
Yes.
Not many people know about this though.
I played that too. That was fun too. If one player always had a better connection, and that player usually won.
Yeah, that's how it went.
It was fun
So,
though.
Slips, it's really good to have you. Let's get right into the juicy stuff. So, there's a thread on Test Your Mind, and a lot of other people are commenting about the jump ins in Mortal Kombat 11, saying that they're too strong. And Ria, I know um, you got some strong opinions about this one. If you want to state your
Oh yeah, we're gonna start off with this topic. Okay, so some people
Wait,
like
is
Dave
this opinion
thinks,
or is this actual factual data?
well, this is actual factual data, meaning
Factual.
this is the real data. This is not, I think this
this
and
is
that.
actual data.
So this is what I did during this weekend. I was like, you know what? Since I'm gonna watch the top 8, why don't I do something else on top of it? I'm gonna count the amount of times people jump at you in this game, and I'm going to count how many times people get anti-aired, and how many times someone doesn't anti-air and a jump in gets blocked or jump in hits somebody. And I was like, okay, this is top 8. This isn't random Joe Schmo playing online. This is a tournament with Sonic Fox, Rewind, Dragon, the best of the best players. And keep in mind, they're not playing characters with like shitty anti-airs. They're playing characters like Devora, Cetrion. These characters have arguably like top 5 anti-airs in the entire game. So during the top 8, I counted the stats, and for Celtic Throwdown, there was 37 successful anti-airs in the top 8, and there was 165 non-anti-air jumps. Not random jumps like people neutral jumping or jumping back. I mean only 165 jumps that specifically either hit the opponent or were blocked and led to offense. And then there were 11 times somebody held up and got saved. I had 3 different rankings. And the whole thing of people holding up and getting saved is just, in this game sometimes people will either hold up on wake up or they'll do like -8 string and hold up. And against some characters, if they challenge you and they do like a string, when you hold up, the first hit will clip you and then you immediately fall to the ground. And then you'll be at advantage or possibly punish the person that did like a string after you. So that happened 11 times. 37 anti-airs and 165 non-anti-air jumps. And then aside from that, I also did it for Summer Jam, which was a different tournament. And for that tournament, Summer Jam, for the top 8, there were 26 anti-airs in the entire top 8. And there were 130 non-anti-air jumps. And there were 8 times that holding up saved somebody in that tournament.
That's pretty consistent. Very close to each other.
And that's only 2 different forms of data. I'm going to be doing that going forward from every tournament from now. 'cause I think it's a
What are
fun
we
thing.
trying to say here with this data?
Shit, dude. I mean, look, I'm not trying to downplay him Black or anything. I think he's insanely ridiculous. But for 6 months of this game, you don't understand how many times that I've been playing people and I read that they were going to jump at me. And instead of me trying to anti-air, because this shit did not work out the first couple months, I've been conditioned to just block the jump in. Just block the jump in instead of trying to anti. Even though I know that this Katana or Kung Lao or whatever character is going to jump at me, the anti-airs are almost like RNG based. At least they're in Black's are. This down 2, standing 1, standing 4, down 3, they're all RNG based. Meaning, if your opponent jumps at you, depending when they do their jump kick, it's going to beat out your anti-air. Because if they do it like their jump kick at like the 20th frame of their jump in, or 22 or 23, whatever, it can beat the time you do your anti-air. So it's almost like an RNG based anti-air system in a way.
RNG, can you elaborate what that means?
Yeah, well, it's basically it's random number generator. That's how I call them in this game. I
Random
call them
number
RNG
Okay,
anti-airs because they randomly work half of the time. That's how they. When I play people, they work half of the time. Aaron Black's down 2 will work half of the time against jump kicks.
in those times where you just block. Why not flawless block, or at least try to?
That's what I do sometimes. But Dave, come on, you're telling me I have to flawless block jump-ins and then reversal launch them. That's almost as bad as you saying MKX jump-ins were fine, just armor them. You see the issue here, Dave?
Well, my
saying
issue-
jump attacks are too. So the subject of this topic is jump in.
Jump kicks. Jump kicks.
Jump kicks are too strong.
But Yeah, but the thing is, I don't really think it's the jump kicks that are too strong. I think it's just some of the answers just suck. They're just really bad. Like some of the down twos and like standing four or whatever moves that NRS designed to be anti-airs, they're just bad at doing their job. Like when you're able to read someone jumping at you and you're conceding neutral and giving them, you know, like the whole runway in neutral to walk up and do shit to you because you're waiting for that one jump in, and then you read the jump in, and then on top of that you can't anti-air consistently still. I think there's an issue.
I think I agree with you in the respect that if you see them jumping and you prepare for it, you should be able to anti. There's no
Yes.
question about that.
This is a very common thing in
But
this game for
here's
many
what
characters.
I'm very doubtful of people like you who played MK9. You want something like you want the reverse to be true. Like you want if they jumps,
So 130 anti-airs.
yeah, exactly.
No,
You
only
want them
100.
to, yeah, you literally want them to enter like 90% of the time. Um,
Okay, hold
let
on.
me
Can I
let me
interrupt you real quick?
let me just say this as well, and you can go. Another thing is some characters are perhaps designed to have bad anti-airs, like Black Adam in Injustice, in the Injustice series, has never really had a superb anti-air, but that's for a reason because he
Wait,
has very
what?
good for very he has
Come
that's
on,
for
maybe what?
His down two is better than average. First
I
of
know,
all.
Oh,
but
good.
but here's the thing, it's not as good as like I don't know, like Catwoman's or Aquaman's or any of
Pretty
those
damn
characters.
good though.
I know, but the point again, dude, I'm not. This fool wants to anti-air every fucking single jumper.
Okay, you're speaking for things I'm not saying. I never said anything about MK9, first of all. Second of all, the anti-airs in MK9 weren't that consistent like you make it seem. The anti-airs were just as good as the jump-ins. Like, they were 50-50. Like, you could get away with jumping in MK9 if you chose your right spots, and if someone's waiting there to anti-air you, you would get anti-aired. It worked like that. It wasn't like, oh my god, MK9, no one could ever jump anytime, ever. It was never like that. And if you don't believe me, go watch any top 8 in MK9. You'll see
Well,
people jumping here
no,
and there,
I don't
and
need
people
to. I
anti-airing.
don't need to see it because
aside
I was
from that-
there. I don't need to see any of it.
Dude,
because I was
MK9
competing.
isn't the game that invented anti-air jabbing. Like, Dave, have you ever played
I know,
MK1,
but that's what
2,
people.
3, 4, any of the classics, that were out for like
I'm
over a
just
decade?
first of all,
They all had anti-airs, like good anti-air
well,
jabs that led to
again,
big
let me say
combos.
this: MK is in a unique position because in Street Fighter you have obviously reversals that have invincibility frames. You have upper body invincibility, and you have jabs that are much faster than Mortal Kombat 9, Mortal Kombat 11 or 9 jabs for that matter. So what do you do here? I've seen people, and this is which includes you, suggesting upper body invincibility for uppercuts. Are you kidding me? In this game, with already hitbox issues, you would have uppercuts beating jabs, beating certain mid attacks to hit too
No,
high.
why would that work like
They
that?
can
What do you
make-
mean?
They
If
can
they
make a
if they know how to
rule where
program
it's
it
only gonna
properly.
affect jump attacks.
Slips,
though.
they can't even get the
okay.
hitbox as they
Dave,
are.
Dave, stop. Okay, Dave, stop. Look, can we give NRS the benefit of the doubt? They would know how to program this properly. Like, if you're gonna give a move invincibility to air attacks, it would strictly be to air attacks. I'm not trying to see Gears down to out of like a just frame string with his invincibility. That's not what I'm saying. I'm sure NRS is
Yeah,
capable enough to program a move
it for
specifically.
invincibility towards just
to
jump
own-
attacks, just like the reversal,
exactly.
just like the flawless block up 2.
Yeah, they already
They can
have
do
that
it like
mechanic
that.
in the game. False block up twos only have invincibility to throws and air attacks.
Right.
What they could do for down twos is give them. They don't have to instantly be invincible because you don't want to be that stupid. Make it like on frame 5 to 6 or 5 to 7, whatever, where they're invincible to only air attacks specifically, just down twos. Or maybe make it be different for every character. Like this character, his standing 4 will be invincible to air attacks for like a 2 frame window. Just make
Okay,
it unique
Dave,
to the
let me
character.
sum this up. What Rio was basically saying, and Slips, you know this even from MKX.
Wait, Tom. Wait,
Whoa,
Tom.
whoa,
Before you get
whoa,
into
whoa.
it, I just want to say.
Mhm.
No, because Dave is painting me out as this like I want MK9 anti-air system
Okay.
back, which is not the case at all. I just want MK11 to have good anti-airs. And first of all, Dave, let me bring up something because Noob Saibot in MK11 is he broken, Dave?
No,
By your logic, is he broken?
no.
But he has the best anti-air ever probably designed in NRS history. It's better than any MK9 anti-air. His upward shadow, you can't jump at it ever on any read with any character. So how are MK9 anti-airs broken because they were so consistent, but you don't say shit about Noob in this
Because
game?
again, you missed the point. It has to do with the fact that yes, he has that anti-air, but he has other weaknesses that can be exploited, and that's what's called a character design. Some characters have weak anti-airs, but they have other.
Yes, but my point is, NRS can give characters weak anti-airs by not giving them the option anti-air. Just make their anti-air be a shitty move.
Okay.
Like, okay, your anti-air is you get a 4% knockback.
Dude,
Other characters get full
guys,
combos off
anti-airs,
anti-airs.
This is as neutral as I can be on this. 2 points to this. One, when it comes to the jumping in these games, from MKX till now, jumping is the number one way most people look to start their offense. Right? Jumping. Because I'd say 8 out of 10 times the jump in is going to be blocked and they get offense. It's an easy way to get around the neutral game and create offense in situations where you can't do anything about it but block it. It's an easy offensive creator. Block the jump kick, mid or throw. That is 90% of how people start a lot of offense in this game. In Mortal Kombat 9, despite all its faults, one of the things it did right was the anti-airs. You don't necessarily need a full combo off them. That may be a little extreme. Because some characters could get ridiculous combos off an anti-air jab, and some only got a little bit. You know what I mean? So then even if they could anti-air you, they're not really going to hit you for big damage, whereas this character here will kill you for it. So again, there's still imbalance. Even with the consistent anti-airs, you're still going to find imbalance in it. But what those anti-airs did, and whatever you want the punishment to be off them, it didn't give you easy creation. If you couldn't advance on the ground, you then couldn't say, fuck, I can't advance on the ground. I know what I'll do. I'll just do the one thing they can't stop. Jump and put them at disadvantage. And I think that's where MK11 has it. And I'm not saying there are no anti-airs. I'm not saying nobody ever gets anti-air. They do. But like Rio pointed out, clearly in the most pressurized moments, the best players in this game have shown you. They could anti-air, and maybe if they tried to anti-air, they would have gotten more than Rios Data. But in that moment, they felt the best decision is to allow the opponent to do an obvious jump and block it. So the point is, even at the highest level, the best players in the world will read a jump in and say, oh, well, he got in the air first. Let me surrender offense. If you cannot stop such an obvious offensive starter at the highest level, that's probably somewhat of a problem in some way, shape, or form.
Believe it or not, I do come from a Street Fighter background before like Tekken and Mortal Kombat and all that stuff. Yeah, anti-air in Street Fighter is very smooth. You have dragon punches, flash kicks, EX moves, whatever.
Some characters have standing medium punch.
Yeah, jumping is more of you're out footseeing me. I'm not sure what to do, so I'm going to jump. It's the opposite in MK. I don't know. Since MKX, really, I've never really understood how to properly anti-air, and maybe that's what they want.
It's faster gameplay. You can't have fast gameplay if the people have to move on the ground.
Sad to say, this slips with some characters starting from MKX just couldn't anti-air.
I know, like with Scorpion, until he had his standing 3 in that patch, like I was like, I have no idea. Maybe standing 1 works sometimes.
RNG anti-airs, that's what have been introduced.
But it depends on what they want. Like if they want people to just jump around all day, then I guess.
Your mic cut out.
Slips, you there?
Shit, did we lose Slips? We can't hear him now.
Flip they hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now we can. Yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying, like if they want the design to be where the best way to play the game is to play just outside of jump range, and maybe 50-50 on trip guard, if they're going to hit a button when they land or not, then that's fine. It's just not, if you've come from like a Street Fighter background or most 2D games, like you have a pretty solid anti-air, and the jumping is like the desperation thing where you're just like, man, this guy is out footseeing me, or this guy is really abusing these special moves. I'm going to jump to avoid all that stuff. And is just different. It's different, and it's on your opinion. I was talking to Raptor about this yesterday, and I was like, what do you think about the anti-airs? And he was just like, you got a flawless block.
And exactly, and it's something that people aren't doing. And also, I don't see jumping as I'm getting out footsies, now I'm going to jump. It's something that if you represent your ground game, then your jumping is going to open up naturally, because there's again, this is super obvious because you're so focusing on the ground game and the spacing that you can't focus, on the jumping as much, and that's what opens up your jumping.
Exactly.
Wait a minute. I know.
That's why in MK9 people could jump all the time, Dave. It's the same.
I want to try to make an argument that goes off topic, then bring it right back. The worst thing I've ever seen, ever put in Mortal Kombat, is the flawless block. Because take a character like Geras. Mortal Kombat, and Slips, you know this, you played a lot of games, is the king of the, what's my post-safe launcher mind game? That's a Mortal Kombat thing, Slips, and you know that. Geras, for example, forward 2-1-2. It's a launcher. It's -3. 95% of the characters in this game, if he does down 1, can only down 1 and back, right? Their mids are too slow. You have to be like a Liu Kang, a Geras, a Kung Lao, etc. So you say, okay, well, if I do a mid, he down ones me. If I go to throw him, he down ones me, gets his turn back. Okay, I'm going to down 1 and back. He flawless blocks your down 1 and launches you. So let me get this straight. You're doing a launcher, like say he's in, not Infinite Warden, what's the other one? New Era. You're doing a launcher with a safe special at the end of it that I have to respect. And when I guess right, if I go to do a mid or throw you, you're going to mash down 1. I'm going to check you with my down 1 to open up my strike throw, but you can also flawless block that and launch me. This is all of a post-launch guessing game, mainly caused by slower mids and flawless block. Flawless block, the ends do not justify the means. It is good in some areas, but awful in others. After I block your launcher, I should be in no jeopardy of being launched by you when I take my turn back. 0 jeopardy of being launched by you.
You guys know in MK9 and
Where
MKX how
does
you
this
would
wrap back around to the anti-airs, though?
Because David's saying flawless blocking is the way to stop anti-air. Flawless blocking is a doorway to more problems. Oh, you know what
What
we
do you
should
want, though? Like, you want them to take away flawless block? Like,
That's
I think
like
it's a pretty cool feature.
that's like saying, oh, this country, blow them up, problem solved. No, I mean, no. Flawless blocking.
Well,
is not
I agree. The best way to deal with jumping is flawless blocking because there's like barely any risk to it,
But Phil,
But what Tom is saying is that how in MK9 and Mortal Kombat X, how whenever you block something that's
hold
like
on.
-6,
But
7,
flawless
you
blocking,
try to
again,
respond,
wait,
they armor
flawless
you
blocking.
back.
Well, which jump punch is it going to be? You have 2 jump punches and a jump kick, 3 jump ins with 3 different flawless block timing.
That's true.
What if it's a deep jump kick?
Then you're
You
gonna
know
miss the
what-
flawless blocking. You're gonna be
Well,
plus
that's
20.
when you anti-air because that means that the hitbox.
By the way, if you try to flawless block a deep jump kick and they jump punch, you get hit. GG's. Good idea, Dave. Great plan.
Well, again, it's a mix
what?
up.
I know you're gonna jump, but I'm mixed up.
Like in MK9 Mortal Kombat X, you block like something that's -7, 8, right? It was technically never your turn, right? Because you were scared to respawn back because they could armor immediately after that, right? In MK11, there's a way to pseudo replicate that. This is what you do, like how Tom explained with Gears. You do a string that's like -7, 6. Could be like Cabal's launcher, Gears launcher, whatever. You just do a safe launching string, and then after it, you knowing that your opponent's gonna poke back to take their turn back, you flawless block OS when you go to block, and then you reversal launch them.
How many characters can
exploiting
launch,
gaps and
how many
strings?
characters can flawless block launch a low poke aside from
Not too many, but the characters that are better
No,
than
it's-
everybody
it's an
get a
issue.
lot of
Again, it's-
bonus from it, like
most-
Gears,
I
Cabal,
assume
and
most
so on.
characters can probably get a up 3 at best, so it's not a flawless block issue. It's a Gears issue. The
Yeah,
fact
but I
is
don't
up-
think NRS
up
intended
two is-
flawless block to be used this way.
I don't see anything wrong with it except when people get launches, which by the way only pretty much Gears can do because it's his up.
And Cabal is a very good
Yeah, I know his
launcher.
is too, but I don't know if his is as fast as Gears is because I know Gears is 6 frames. So
But the-
that's
The
the
thing
issue.
is with the armor, there was no counterplay to armor. There's counterplay.
Yeah, there wasn't.
to
It was
the
literally
flawless
just
block.
blocking.
No, but the problem is, you're like, yeah, just throw them, but the character down mids, and that goes to the dumb meta again, where you have some characters who, anytime they block something, their mids are so fast, and they even catch you even if you jump. They're immediately putting you in a strike throw that has consequence, where you're more likely to take the throw because you're like, this character can throw out this save launcher with no consequence. Then the rest of the cast, i.e. the majority of the game, they have to take an extra step. Block something, down one check, then go for the meat and potatoes or throw.
Or
And
you can just not do anything and just bait.
bait what?
But if you think they're going to down one, just backdash and punish.
No. So you can't do that.
No, you can. You can
No.
with certain characters, depending on the
No,
backpack.
it depends. You can do that to Liu Kang.
It's like
Gears?
Tekken's like that too, where if you're like minus 5 or 6 or something like that, it's kind of scary. Or if you block something that's minus 5 or 6 or 8 or whatever, it's kind of scary to retaliate.
No.
If you
Missed my
try and
point.
open them up with something and they mash a hop kick, you're done. If you do a quick mid, they might mash one of
That's
those
interesting
armor
you say that, Slips, because you're saying -5 or 6. Slips, the launchers from those characters are -1 to -3. You're not backdashing shit. And you sure as fuck are not punishing anything if you backdash it. It's -3, Slips.
I don't know.
And the follow-up is 7 frames. That gives you 10 frames to backdash and do an attack. Impossible. So
Maybe flawless block, they're down 1.
I think the issue is that
So let me get this straight. First, I must guess right on the launcher, guess right after I block the launcher, and then guess right on your next attack. You know what, Slips? I think Godfish should be mid, low, and high, so that you must block them. And then after you block them, I want you to block one more time.
It's about it's about extending and retracting. Like if they're going to keep extending after their negative, you have to read that and you got to go with their flow.
Slips. When do we stop the post-launcher mind game?
Is 2-1-2 is that scary of a launcher? Like he doesn't get that much off of it. He just gets
Gears, a forward 2-1 tier, a forward 2-1-2, 34.
I mean, if he hit confirms the first 2 hits, yeah.
Who doesn't do that?
I think
I'm
you're
just saying, like,
it's not a Gears thing. It's just an example.
I mean, someone's got to be the best in the game. I mean, that's fine.
I'm not saying Gears.
I'm more concerned about the anti-air argument than the flawless block argument.
I'm not saying.
I think we should get back to the anti-airs because that's more.
My point is,
I'm
not saying Gears is the best. My point is that flawless blocking gets exploited in areas where it really has no business being.
Man. Like this is not a new mechanic. Like Third Strike is considered one of the best fighting games of all time. No one's complaining.
But again, you don't have to. But you don't have to.
And Third Strike is way easier than the flawless block.
You don't have to parry in Third Strike to anti-air.
Well, the point is this. First of all, how Rios cited this data, but how many high-level players, the best players in the world, actually even tried to flawless? Like how many were even successful? Maybe they even do it. The
best players in the world don't give a shit about anti-airing. Do you know why? Because they don't want to be anti-aired. They don't want to stop easy offense.
I saw. This is where I got this from. I saw a match between TJT and Deoxys. Granted, it was a long offline, series online rather, and he was, I would say, at least 70 to 80% of the time he was flawless blocking, Gears splash, and punishment flawless block up 3. I don't want to hear this nonsense. And besides,
well, if he's
I don't trust.
Then he's not doing jump 3 enough.
Exactly. And here's the thing. I don't trust any of Rio's solution. The last time this fool tried to fix anything was.
Wait, I didn't give any solutions.
I need to
what do you
make
mean?
This argument. The last time you tried to fix.
Wait, I didn't give any kind of solutions to MK11
I'm talking about MKX. The last time you tried to fix the so-called armors problem in MKX was the last time.
Why do people think that I got MKX changed? Like this is ridiculous.
The last time you tried to make this argument was, guess what? Then we were jumped on by fucking stupid ass teleports we couldn't do anything about. So I hope Paulo, 16-bit, any of those guys are listening to.
They never listened to me to begin with. Okay, stop, Dave, stop. Let me put this in perspective so people understand what happened. So Dave is mad because apparently I said MKX armor launchers were stupid, and then the developers listened to me out of nowhere.
No, because
wasn't the whole community crying about them. But they listened to
influence.
Specifically Rio making one post on T1 about armor launchers being stupid.
That's the argument you were trying to make.
Wait, hold on, Dave.
The
let me just
bottom line
explain
is
the whole
jump-ins
situation.
in this game are very, very.
No, Tom. Dave needs to be blown up for this. This is ridiculous.
Wait. Jump it.
No, wait. Hold on. Wait. Before you get into your point, Dave is saying that it's my fault. MKX was a jump fest because they got rid of armor launchers, so you were able to see how shit the antis were in that game without armor.
I think actually
the armor was a band-aid the whole time, Dave. You're delusional.
Look,
like when you have to armor to anti consistently.
Look, the bottom
anti system is fucked.
Just because jumping is really powerful doesn't make the game extra. Like, okay, whenever you say jumping is really powerful, it's subconsciously people think, oh, you're saying this game is scrubby, or this game is bad, or you're saying
Yeah, no one's
I
saying that.
have no neutral. That's not what I'm saying. Even though I think most of today's players actually don't. But either way, I digress. I digress. The bottom line is,
Look, a game can be really good and fine, and it can be jumpy. That's fine. Like no one's saying
the bottom
that.
line is the game is the way it is, and the top players have adjusted to it and they've adapted to it. And sometimes you play games a certain way for so many years, and you expect, anti-airs for 20-something years have been like this. And now you can't anti-air at all. It's progression, whether it's for the
Well, you can. It's just RNG based or RNG
it's
anti-air.
still progression, whether it be in a manner in which, in your opinion, it's good or in your opinion, it's bad. It's still progression one way or the other. And the bottom line is the top players have found a way to deal with it. Sure, maybe they have to block them a little more and put in a lot more pressure situations when they could probably be awarded with a combo in other scenarios and other games. But that's how the game is played. And to Slips' point, maybe that's what they wanted. Maybe they wanted a game in which, hey, the air is a option. They didn't want to shut the air off. Or maybe in this game, they kind of, with the exception of a few jump in like punch attacks like Geras' Splash, Cabal's Jump 2, for the most part, jump in 2s are very, very easy to anti-air. The more damaging combo starter part of the jump ins are usually very, very easy to anti-air. And the jump kicks, not so much, but more times than not, the jump kicks are not going to net you even close to the same amount of damage. So it's kind of like they took a meet you halfway, whereas MKX, you couldn't anti-air anybody's jumping punches. Now they say, I tell you what, these jumping combo starters are going to be really easy to anti-air for the most part, a few characters aside. But these lesser damaging combo starters are going to be more difficult, and you may have to block them more often than not, etc. You may have to space them out differently. It's kind of like a medium between MKX and maybe where they want games to go.
I had a theory of like, well, maybe I can play the game outside of jump range and I can try and bait jumps, and then somehow maybe I can close the gap within footsies if they're not jumping. But that's kind of hard.
Well,
Range
Slips,
normal,
yeah.
you might be able to play it
Well-
like that, but
Well, Slips, let me just give this example. It's just because when people think anti-air, they usually think Street Fighter, but he's like Shang Tsung. We all know he's not the best character in the game, but he's still probably very good. And if you look at that range, so you have to worry about ground eruption, and then when you block it, you have to worry about flawless blocking it. You have to worry about forward 4, which is plus. You have to worry about that. So you have to worry about the fireball, and you have to worry about the the corpse drop, and then you also have to worry about the jump ins. That's like 5 things you have to worry about. So if I jump at you,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
I
you
know,
just
but the problem
can't-
is-
you can't
I know,
even play
but-
footsies.
but-
You got
but-
to just
true,
The
but
problem is, Slips, even if Rio's saying, even if you take that risk and you basically commit to just stopping the jump in, half the time you still eat it.
That's
no,
what I'm
no,
saying.
no,
That's
that's
what I'm
concede
saying.
your
The
neutral and
best
just wait
way-
for that
the
one
best
option.
Spacing, the optimal spacing is to play just outside of jump range and try and bait jumps, try and get in jump range and then get the hell out of there to bait a jump and then punish.
But the problem is,
Yeah,
the problem is,
that's the best way to deal with jump ins. You either have to floss block them if you're not in that range, or you have to back up
okay,
and trip.
but here's
guard. That's the only way.
but here's the problem.
Right.
Most characters don't have fast mids. A lot of their moves that they would use to trip guard are highs. So they do an empty jump and duck. GG's.
well, that's the issue. Is the fact
Yeah,
that Street
That's the
Fighter, you don't-
50-50. If they're gonna
Yeah.
jump and not hit a button, and then they guard, or they're gonna jump and hit a button and you get a. If they jump and don't hit a button, then just run up throw. Like either way, you're fine.
What I
know,
think,
but-
what I think Rio was saying that jumping in this game, it's whatever.
Look, I'm not saying the game should be changed. It could be
it's
like
its
this
own
forever
thing.
if they
Rio
wanted
was
to.
saying by more traditional fighting games, the jumping in this game would be considered out of control. By going
I
by
agree with that. I agree with that.
But again, it's not a traditional fighting game. They went kind of like a medium ground with the anti-airing from Mortal Kombat X to whatever. And like I said, the jumping punches are pretty consistent anti-air. Some of the jump kick can be tricky. But again, the players today have adjusted to it. That's why they're the best. Dinosaurs like myself are
To
just
be
too
fair,
stuck in the past.
Sonic Fox, the day of the reveal, was like the jump kicks are too strong. Like he said that day, literally day
Really?
0. He said
Yeah,
day
yeah.
negative whatever. He was just like, man, the jump kicks seem kind of strong, and we're still
Well,
there.
I know, but just to like give the
And to
the
this day, on his stream, I was watching him play some people, and he said the anti-airing is not strong enough.
Doesn't feel good.
Yeah, that's
I know,
weird because
but
he plays like arguably the best anti-air character.
that's
He has
true. But I think
Devora.
you guys again, I'm trying to give the viewers like better perspective of this because they, when people think anti, they think of Street Fighter. But I just told you, like, if you have, I give you another example with Gears. In Street Fighter, you don't have moves that come out of the ground instantly that you can't react to. That's almost non-existent. Well, maybe in a Kali, but his is not as good. So if you have a move like low sand trap, you can't react to this. So you have to constantly hold down back. So that literally leaves you open to dash in, throw, strings, dash in, jump.
No,
So you
but
can't
he's
react.
talking about strictly when you literally say, "I'm giving you all this. I'm so sure you're going to jump. I surrender everything to stop this, and you still can't stop it."
I know, and I disagree with, and I agree with you 100%. That should not be the case. But how many of those times I played Rio? Most of the times when I jumped on him, he expected something else, and he got jumped on.
I
Again?
would say, going by Rio's numbers, just being impartial here, and I think Slips, you would agree. If somebody were to tell me, okay, I can accept, hey, I'm not what I used to be when I was, 18, 20, or even in my 30s. But I would say if somebody were to give me data of the best in the world they're going to be playing, and here's the jump-in data, and Rio told me that they failed to anti-air 160 times in a very, just out of the top 8, so very small sample size.
Yeah, and keep in mind they're playing characters like Devora and Citron who
They have the best
really good
anti-airs in the
anti-airs.
game with the best players in the world, and 160 times they weren't able to, and only like 30 something times. I would be shocked by those numbers if you were to tell me the best players in the world are going to be playing in
As
this.
an old school player, like I was coming from the Street Fighter world, yeah, like jumping was considered like a scrubby, like you only jump if you have to. Someone jumping was them pretty is you're playing. There's a layer of this figuring out if someone's like a scrub or intermediate or advanced, and if range and someone's like either they get desperate with either special moves or jumping, it's just like, okay, this guy can't really handle the pressure of me getting close to them. They're either going to do a special or they're going to do a jump, and you can find out real quick, like, oh, I got close and he's jumping and you anti-air. Oh, I got close and he's doing a special move. Okay, I'll just block it and now
Like proximity moves.
I'll
Yeah.
bait it. I'll bait out as many special moves as I can, and then I'll pick my spot. Just don't get hit by him. But in MK, the special moves are a lot better, and the jump attacks are a lot better. I personally have never, since MKX, I guess, I've still haven't really figured out where the optimal place to play is, because you can't deter anyone from jumping as much. Special moves are just stronger, so there's just a bigger reward for them doing them, so that you have to watch out for that too. And between those two things, between special moves and jumping, I don't know. I feel like you just can't even really get close without they're a scrub or not.
Yeah, I would just say, but even for Mortal Kombat 11, like I said, game, the jumping, the top players handle it just fine, and they handle it in a way where,
Right,
obviously,
and this is just me being a dinosaur, right?
yeah,
Like,
same, absolutely. With me, I'm just being a dinosaur.
so, I mean, kids obviously today are going to adapt to it.
Absolutely.
It's just weird. It's just weird to me. It doesn't feel good to anti-air, and I feel like, and it's more frustrating when someone's just sitting there and they're not jumping or they're special moving and they're just reacting to me like dashing in. Like, okay, this person's just gonna sit, and then they're just reacting to me dashing, and then occasionally they'll jump or occasionally they'll throw out the special move, and so they're occasionally being scrubby, and they're also turtling, and I have a really hard time and opening them up when they're just mixing up random jump, random special, and just random like run away or random keep out. I don't know. And it feels like an injustice. I could get in range, and if they jump, I would just down to them. If they dashed up, I would down to as well. Like, in their face and put up a barrier, and I could put pressure on them and react to them and figure out what kind of player they are. Time and MKX figuring that out because there's so much more space I gotta worry about closing the gap.
I would say by Rio's numbers, what was shocking to me is, again, I could understand if those numbers applied to me. Like, we both covered slips, we're dinosaurs, you know? But today's players who have adapted to this game very, very well, are very consistent, know what to do and when to do it, to tell me that in that many instances they just ate it, that's still shocking to me for people that have adjusted so well to the game. Those numbers are a bit staggering to me because I would expect that from someone like myself, not from the best players in the world. So that still says, as you said, Sonic Fox said day one, jump kicks are a little too strong.
There are
Well,
certain characters that have just stronger jump kicks in general. Like Baraka is unanti-airable, literally unanti-airable.
Well, he's got a strong jumping punch as well. With the what is that thing? Jumping down one? I don't even remember. But
Yeah, and it's just like even like jumping, like teleport, jumping, like there's dive kicks too. Like there's already
downward
like special
projectiles.
moves that thwart like the traditional anti-airs. Even if you had an invincible dragon punch or something like that, there's already
Yeah, you would
things
still
in
get baited
place
out.
that would cause a problem for that. Add the jump kicks on top of it as like a standard like go-to. It's tough, man. It's tough. Like I have a hard time like chasing people down because I'm so worried about special moves and jumps.
well, I think we've set it up with the jumping. I'm going to touch another topic, and we may have to skip a couple topics just to stay on time. I have a feeling we're going to agree on this topic a lot more here, and it has to do with the variation system of the game. How do you guys feel about that?
I've never been a fan. Ever since MKX, I think that was the worst thing NRS could have introduced. Like, it has potential, I understand it, but I don't think they should base the game around variations. You never want to like lock away moves. Like, whenever you look at a fighting game, at least it could just be me. When I look at a fighting game and I see a character, I want to learn everything about them and play everything. I don't want to just play a small portion or a sample size of the character. I want everything available. Like, I want to try my best to try and master the character. And I think variation system takes away from that. And it also takes away from the hype in trailers.
I think that was
Like,
the big.
We're going to see the Terminator trailer coming, right? I don't know what moves he's going to
Yeah.
have that are actually going to be tournament legal. Like, it's hard to get hype over
That was
what may
I
not be
think
playable.
that was the big miss for this game is it's like it's cool that they have all these moves, but us with what the tools that we can use and we see the other tools that we can use. Like that was a big miss. I felt like.
Yeah, and I think NRS has gotten to the point where they're pretty good at balancing. Like MK11 launch day,
It's-
compared to every other NRS game, was surprisingly balanced. I think they would be able to balance a character with all their moves in one.
It's funny because the
I think
beta
NRS can do that.
I thought was great because they actually did kind of have a sense of balance of how cheap the special moves were, and they gave them like point systems and slots and stuff. I was like, wow, this is great. Like they actually have an idea of how cheap this special move is. They made it cost 2 points. And then when the game came out, it was like, no, not only that, we're gonna add another layer of restrictions on it, and you're only stuck with these things. And it's like, damn, the beta was more fun than this.
Yeah, exactly. I think for this game, they should have let customs go from the beginning.
Right.
So is
Because
that,
we played MKX with the presets already. Like, that was the thing. I don't get why we're doing the same thing again. Usually NRS, they make a new game
Right.
every
They
time with
usually
a big new
progress.
feature.
Usually,
Yeah.
exactly. Like I thought, like Injustice, they added all those special moves in, like as like equipment items or whatever. And I was like, okay, that's cool.
Yep.
They're like testing it out. And I thought MK11 that was going to be, they're really going to incorporate it, but they just kind of stuck with it and they didn't really add to it. And it was just like, man, like you have it. It's right here in your face, and you literally just have to take one more step from the previous steps that you took, and you're not taking it.
well, you have to ask whether we're ever going to have customizable variations. And first of all, I was against them, but I think at this point, like you have to allow it. But Ed Boon announced we're going to get a third variation, so you have to ask, why would they add a third variation if we're going to have, if we ever going to have customizable variations, ever? And
I
it
mean, a
seems like
third variation is just it's just MKX again. There's going to be a best variation probably.
I know.
I want to interject something on this point because
Go ahead.
I want Dave's and Slips' never talk about. So when Rio was telling me, I'm bored of the game, I don't want to say anyone's name at Summer Jam. They were like, I'm bored of the game. I'm bored. A lot of people say that I'm bored of the game. Guys that we would consider high level, a lot of them said I'm bored of the game. I think the variation system is a huge problem. So I understand the purpose of it. And it makes great sense. Hey, if you're someone who is a character loyalist, because we all know how counterpicking for early on in the NetherRealm cycle was a big deal, and it still is to some extent. The variation system was created to say, we're going to reward the character loyalist. Now you have 3 variations, and if one, or an MK11 2, and if one variation loses, say an MK11, you can go another variation to give you to win, or even flat out win. The problem is, MK11 especially, one variation loses, the other one damn sure loses. For the same reason. So it's no good.
The balance between the variations doesn't make a
But
lot
here's
of
the problem. They split the character in 2. So you have 2 half characters for the purpose of these variation counter picks, but that doesn't work. So you're left with less depth per character. Imagine Mortal Kombat 9, the last Mortal Kombat that doesn't have a variation system. Imagine if Kung Lao had one variation with that, another with teleport. It would be the most boring gameplay you've ever seen in your life. And it would hold no one's attention because it's taken away freedom from the player. It's taken away creativity. Imagine Zangief had 3 variations. One with throws, one with lariat, one with green hand. You would literally fall asleep playing that. Yeah. Ryu, one has a DP, one has a fireball, one has a hurricane kick. You might as well watch paint dry. I mean, and I think we would agree, taking creativity from splitting a complete character to making 2 incomplete characters or 3 incomplete characters, it would be one thing if the variation system worked, but it doesn't. All you're doing is removing options from players. Players like freedom. They like the sense of discovery. Sense of discovery keeps the game fresh.
the identity too. It's your identity. Like
Mortal Kombat 9,
you like.
for all its faults, and I am not a Mortal Kombat 9 apologist, because God knows I have tons of complaints about that game. But the one thing it did right is even 2 years into the game, you felt you could go into a practice mode, the worst practice mode of all NRS games, and you could still create. Whereas with all the bullshit they give us now, we can't do shit with it because there's nothing to do.
It's everything gets optimized real quick, yeah.
Okay, let me
But
just say, God bless Tom Brady. I couldn't have said it better myself because, and NRS is holding the players by their neck. It's almost like strangling them because we can't. To me, again, I was firmly against it, but they have to allow customizable variations. I think the game, because of the variation system, lacks depth. That's why people are complaining.
I would agree.
People are, that's the reason a lot of high level players, even intermediate players, are complaining about the game that it lacks depth. It's hard to keep them entertained for a long time. It's because of this very reason. I want to use a character. You know what? If Noob is supposed to be about Rushdown, okay, that's fine. Make it one region that's supposed to be about that, and stop bullshitting us. I think the way for the game to survive for long term, to keep players' interest going, they must allow these variations, in some customizable sense. Create an interface that lets me know, okay, Rio picked this move for Aaron Black, and he picked another one, so I know what he picked. I think that's the only way this game is going to survive long term.
They actually added something like that.
I know, like
During the loading
Yeah.
screen now, it shows you what moves their opponent did.
that's what I
You
mean,
look
though.
at
Like,
Smash 4, there was characters where you could pick their moves and stuff like that. The community ended up banning that ability. We didn't even have the choice. That's the problem, I think. It's like Smash had that ability where you can pick your moves and stuff like that, and the community was like, "This is too broken." You know what I mean? The community looked into it, they found stuff and they're like, this is broken. We can't allow this in tournament. We can't even discover that if it's the fear of NRS is if we unleash all these moves like are gonna just make broken shit happen, and the game's gonna look bad because of it. If the case, like, let us figure that out. If you don't
But
have enough testers, or if you don't have enough manpower to find out what's too broken and what's not too broken, let us figure it out, and then we'll
to be fair,
say that like this is too.
but to be fair to to developers and to NRS in general is what would happen. This game is trash. It's a it's a party
Dude, people
game.
are gonna say that regardless.
I know. I'm just trying to like play the devil's advocate. You know what people would say? People would blow the game up like it's a party game. This is another joke of a game. So I understand they're afraid because especially like of prior games and stuff. So and I think there's always that scare with the balance because people are gonna say, okay, Sonic Fox found the most broken variation and he just won um $30,000 and it's a joke. That's what people are gonna say, and I think they're afraid of that, and I think there's a certain truth to that to the point. But at the same time, I would like to think that at least balance wise, they have earned my trust, and I trust them to test.
They earned my trust when I saw that they put points per special move, where they put it like each special move was worth so many slots. I was already sold. I was like, oh wow, I can't have Misery Blade and Searing Rage
and the teleport cancel.
I was like, well, I was like, wow, smart on them. Like they've already done the work. Like they already see it. And then maybe if a move was worth 2 slots and it wasn't good enough, then maybe reduce it down to 1 slot. Or maybe if a move was too good and it was only 1 slot, then make it 2 slots. Like they could have balanced it that way instead of just restricting everything, and they tell us what's the best.
I mean, you guys have been all.
I was completely surprised how balanced the beta was when we all played the closed beta because I thought it was gonna be some broken shit, but it was actually all the characters felt
Well,
reasonably good.
let me ask you guys, because all three of you, Rio, all three of you have, it's no secret you've tested the game before. You did some work for them. What's keeping them from giving us what we want?
I think they're just scared of just shit being too broken. That's what I think.
Yeah, I don't think they want a repeat of Tanya CO top 8.
Right.
They don't want someone to all flock to this stupid loadout that's like ridiculous. Like I don't know.
I think they're
Like
scared
some-
of outside perception of shit being too broken. But it's just like we came from MKX. Like it's not gonna get more.
Yeah, I don't think it's
broken
gonna get
than
worse than MKX. I think it's impossible for us to make a game more broken than MKX.
that. One of the brokest games.
The plus 27 armor launch. I mean, plus 27 combo launching loops over and over. Would they ever make something like that ever again? Probably
If
never.
we play through that, we can probably play through anything.
That's true. And I would like to add a lot of the characters actually already have the best variations. Like, look at Setchun.
Dude, I'll say this:
Go
look,
ahead.
Aaron Black, they're never gonna make a variation better than what Aaron Black has in 52 card pickups. Like all his other moves, I looked at them, any possible combination, they're never gonna be better than 52 card pickup. 52 card pickup.
Throw though? Wouldn't you add the command throw to the?
Yeah, but dude, they're not gonna do 52 card pickup plus command throw. Like, come on, that's not gonna be Aaron Black's third variation. They're gonna use the rest of the moves.
No,
that
no, I'm
haven't been
talking
used
about
yet.
the customizable variations. Isn't that the best case scenario for you? You have the.
Yeah, no,
Lock
I'm
and
saying
load it?
I'm talking about presets. Like
Oh.
they're never going to create something for third, fourth, fifth, whatever variation that's gonna top 52 card pickup. So if you're an Aaron Black player right now, you have nothing to look forward to because the variation's only gonna get worse.
True, I guess. I mean, we'll see what happens. I would like to think we're gonna get what we want, but honestly, I don't know. But I do want to talk about another topic here, and that's seeing after watching Celtic Showdown and same thing with Summer Jam, and I want to give our own co-host Tom Brady a lot of credit for.
Celtic or Celtic?
Is it
It's Celtic.
Celtic?
It's Celtic.
I thought it was Celtic first, but I started saying on stream, people were blowing up saying it's
Called
Celtic.
the
Dude.
Celtics.
No,
Yeah, there is. That's why it's
Depends if
confusing.
you're in Ireland or Scotland, if it's Celtic or Celtic.
let's.
It's
dude,
the tournament's pronounced Celtic Throwdown.
It's English, man.
All right, all
like,
right. I was
it-
curious.
It's English, dude. Let's just
You say Celtic days so we don't get blown up.
Celtic. Let me just give our own co-host Tom Brady a lot of credit for getting top 8 at Summer Jam.
Thank you, sir.
Nice.
I immediately
Old
texted me.
people. Yes.
Old people, yes, man. That's what it's all. So I'm very, very happy about that. But let me have you guys comment on the. Do you think the game is in a better spot with the new patch? Everything, I know we haven't, we've only had a limited amount of tournaments, but what are you guys thinking? What's your thought process?
I think it's definitely an improvement. Like the balance is better. You have characters like Devore and Kano being played now at tournaments. Like we just had Devore in grand finals. You would have never saw that last patch. So I think it's better.
Tom, what are you thinking? As the guy who plays just top 8, what are you thinking? With Sub Zero, what's your whole?
I think the
analysis?
balance in this game is completely out of whack.
Really?
I think
Jeez, that's like the complete opposite of what I
That's
said.
right.
I think this game
We're really
I
confusing.
think
the
this
viewers.
game has two metas. You have characters, to me, are broken down by the certain meta they play. This game, which was advertised as a footsie game, and nothing wrong with not being to all you new school players, just because you would slam your face into the wall if you played a game from 20 years ago doesn't mean that your games today are bad. It's a sign of the times, and your games are great, and you're great at them. So, disclaimer: King Campbell before you blow me up, even though you've never done shit in your life, and you.
Oh my god! What? The...
Tom, did you just take a shot of
Holy shit!
This is
Patron
why
or
they
something?
don't root for old people, Tom.
Hey, you know what? Hold on. The guy blew me up. He says I sucked. I'm 42 years old. I was just in top 8 again. And the only thing King Hippo can say is, that doesn't count. Who I deemed to be there wasn't there.
Oh, dude, come on.
And that's what happens when you wear a size 50 jeans. You get all upset at yourself, and you're all miserable for the rest of your fucking life.
See, here's the thing. That's why I love Tom Brady. I don't know whether he read a hate comment or I don't know whether he just took 2 shots of Patron, and that's why I respect the guy.
I mean, look.
Wait, what is the topic
I'll
again?
get back on topic. I'm just saying, look, man, when you call somebody out and they do something that's good, you got to eat shit, man. Period. And then don't call people out, and you won't have to eat it. So the bottom line, though, is I really think the way this, and I do like you, King Hippo, by the way. It's a good name, Bomb Trady. I was flattered by your stealing my name, but.
Oh my god.
I want to say that this game is not a footsie game. It's more of the jumping, and then there's the up close meta. I mean, Foxy kind of plays his little lame style, but he kind of plays it again, the poke game very, very well. So you have up close, it's staggers, throws, down ones, period. And I think that meta is extremely imbalanced up close because you have, Jax, Geras, Jackie, Liu Kang, etc., characters like that. Their turn, they take their fucking turn. They will always take their turn. You are terrified to stop them taking it. Like, when people fight against Scorpion or Sub-Zero or a character like that, they don't care if they do a string and jump or down one, etc., right? We've all seen that before. But then you have Geras, Liu Kang, Jackie, etc., etc. You do something on them, even if it's -1. You don't give a fuck. You hold R2, and those characters will make you hold R2 because you're going up if you don't. So they take their turn back with launchers, and because the punishment is so high for checking them, like we've all been there. You're fighting against Liu Kang or someone like that, Geras, Cassie. You do a string, and you're like, okay, I don't want to give my turn back. You mash it down one, and they do a mid right in the face, and you're like, why did I hit a button? I know their mids are like the speed of light. So they put fear into you. You're more likely to respect them and give them plenty of throw attempts because of just how serious the punishment is to try to steal your turn back. Then we have the other characters, which is the majority of the game, which are slow-ass mids. They do stuff. Characters do moves to them. Hold up, right? Oh, Rio was just pointing out. He was playing a katana player who would do a string. Hold up. Rio would go to do back 2-2-2. Because you have to commit to the whole string, what happens is, as the string begins to come out, they escape, right? Get up and get a full combo because the string must come out if you commit to it. So there are characters in this game that do stuff, and jumping will kind of save you from getting out of the pressure or down 1 is a good way to safely steal your turn back. Your worst case scenario is you eat it down 1. Now you're in the situation. But it's quite, the risk reward is in your favor to try to steal your turn back against those type of characters. So that's drastically imbalanced because this whole game is literally based around nobody wants to take a throw. That's why people get up and mash. That's why they hold up. That's why they get up with buttons. Nobody wants to get thrown in this game, period. That's why they get up mashing as opposed to get up and nobody wants to get thrown. People are terrified of that. That's why you see so many uppercuts. Non-stop, everything's an uppercut now. So, but those characters, because the punishment is so heavy, even the staunchest of I don't want to get thrown type people, they sit there and they eat throw after throw from Cassie, Liu Kang, from Geras, from all from these characters that have these really good mids. Then the rest of the cast are like, well, it's hard for me to throw them. They're jumping, which also happens to save them from this mid or this high or this low, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Multiple options. One option counters multiple things at once. And that's extremely imbalanced. Look, Sonic Fox is unbelievably great. I watched him play Foxy's Nightwolf one time, and Sonic was playing all of his characters, right? All the characters with the shit fucking mids, and he was playing them all. And you would think Foxy Grandpa was Jesus. As soon as Sonic Fox points to Jax, you know what happens? He was down like 20-1. He goes to Jax. He goes to Jax, mid. You know what happens? It's now 25-20.
That's true.
And you saw that, Dave. You saw that stream. I know you did.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
What was the difference? Mids.
No, let me just say, I 100% agree with you.
That's imbalanced.
And
Two people. That's
Tom,
bad.
Tom, let me just say this. In case people are asking, oh no, why do ketchup and mustard rank Kano and Kotal Khan so low? Well, guys, because they have no mids. Like they're literally they have the worst mids in the game, and the whole game is literally strike and throw. The faster mid you have, the better you can mix up.
I mean, these are smart fighting game players. Ketchup and mustard, they're smart fighting game players. We have a lot of people in this community who are smart fighting game. Mids, safe mids, fast mid, 3-hitting launchers are a motherfucker in fighting games when most of the cast doesn't have them. Period.
And I agree with you. And I think people do understand because I'm also looking at other like YouTube or content creators like Rufflemonger, and he's talking about how there's this inconsistent with the mids, and I agree with you. It's huge. Like basically, if your character is slow mids, he or she cannot be good. Like it's just the reality.
So let me ask you this: in Tekken, what do they say is the best round closer? Safe mid, right?
Okay,
Safe mid.
Dave, with your current statement, character can be good if they have
good
slow
luck
mid.
with that in this game.
Far.
Well, I think the problem is
Devora kind of defeats that.
That's true, but
she's really good, but she's not.
But she has other like pretty much. You can get around that, but you need extremely strong tools.
And one more thing.
Like
so on my stream, we can all agree that as a player, right? He's a good player. He's very smart. He's a good player. He's done well for himself.
Cool. It cut off when you were saying it.
Wait, who'd you say?
Vendetta. He's a good Johnny Cage.
Yeah, he's a really good
We
player.
ran the Johnny Cage versus Sub-Zero matchup like every day for like 3-4 days. The characters couldn't hit each other with anything but down 4 because all my fastest moves are highs. All his fastest moves are highs. We have mids like my back 3 and his forward 4. My back 3 is slow. His forward 4 is slow. And us doing down 3s or down 4s, we beat each other's mids, go into each other's high. The whole 2-3 days was down 3 and down 4. We couldn't hit each other with anything but that.
I think the problem is like they want like certain characters to be really good up close. So you have like Jack.
Johnny Cage shouldn't be good up close.
I think they.
I mean, his footsies and zoning isn't that bad.
Footsies, but footsies aren't that strong in this game because footsies are kind of thwarted by the jump-ins and the special moves. And then there's the other archetype of maybe a zoning type or a move type. And then the bottom line is as up close play is where it's at, because footsies aren't that strong. Zoning and keep away isn't really that strong either.
That's
So
where the imbalance is.
Yeah, I actually agree
It's
with
like the
that.
footsies aren't strong. Like the characters that I think are designed to be like more footsie based just aren't that good at playing footsies, because special moves and other things are just more powerful. And then the characters that are more about runaway and having strong special moves like Scorpion, they're not that good either, because the bulk of your damage is going to be in the up close game.
Well,
But
let me
that's what
talk.
would
Well,
you
that's
agree, Dave? It's imbalanced. The up close game causes a
Well,
huge imbalance.
like as a Scorpion
it
player,
is.
like
Yeah,
I play, if someone's throwing special moves at me all day, I'm gonna fucking win because I'm Scorpion. I have a teleport. If we're gonna go toe to toe with special moves, I win. If we go toe to toe with
the close
footsies,
rate. Yeah,
like it's okay. Like my footsies are just kind of average, right? Like I have forward 3, it's whatever, and then up close, I'm still kind of poop because mine don't have mid. So the only players that I'm really able to consistently beat are just idiots who just spam special moves, and then I really have to play out of my ass to out footsie people, and I really have to play out of my ass to beat like a Liu Kang or like a Jackie or something like that. And like it just feels like the other aspects, the other archetypes, the game just doesn't cater to.
But do you ever get the feeling slips when you're playing characters like that? But there's nothing you can do to make them respect your follow-up options. They don't give a shit. They'll jump. They'll down one.
Interestingly enough, there's a lot of option selects in this game.
That's
where
true.
you can like hit down 1. Like, so something I do with Scorpion is I'll try and interrupt with down 3 or down 1. Whether it's on hit or block, I just pre-shoot, or I just pre-input forward 3. I immediately hit block, and because hit stun is shorter than block stun, I'll hit down 1 and then forward 3 immediately, and immediately hit block. And you can actually option select it. You can do down 1, and if it's blocked, you'll do forward 3 and hit block, and the forward 3 won't come out. Down 1 or down 3 hits, and you do forward 3 and you hit block.
No, what I mean is,
I'm just
without
saying,
having a down 1.
There's ways you can actually option select your.
Yeah, I understand.
Stuff.
See, you're going back to the down 1. My point is, have you ever had situations where you're like, without down 1, you can't stop people, and sometimes people don't care about the down 1. They'll sit there and they say the risk reward's in their favor. Sometimes you might say, okay, let me go ahead and throw this guy. And they're still ducking anyway because they're just like, I don't give a shit about the down 1. I'm sure you've had at least one instance of that happening.
No, yeah, like the characters that have 9-frame mids, they eliminate a whole other layer of what the other characters do. Yeah,
That's what I mean.
Whereas the other characters, they have to hit you with the down 1, then they have to hit you with like a quick mid or a not like something really quick to get even more advantage, and then they can do their juicy guessing game. Whereas the other characters, they hit you with a down 1, it's just like bam, throw or mid, boom, eat it.
Not even just that, just in taking their turn back. Like, for example, as a Sub-Zero player, if I do back 3-2 and I'm fighting someone with a really fast mid, like 9 frames, I'm not thinking jumper down 1 because I'm like, I'm not trying to go airborne. But if they block my stuff, or I mean, like vice versa, they don't really care. You know what I mean? They're like, okay, I mean, if I block their moves, right? If I block their moves, they're like, well, I want to take my turn back. My worst case scenario is down 1. So I'm trying to throw sometimes. They're like, well, I don't give a shit. I'm going to down 1 time. You do your down 1 back. And because down 1 as your counter is so meaningless because it sets up to set up again, it's just really, really hard to kind of like.
You really have to option select your offense post down 1. You have to down 1 and immediately go to your quickest mid, even if it's slow. And then you might be able to catch them jumping and mashing at the same time.
Yeah.
But you have to option select it. If you try and hit confirm if you're down 1 hits, absolutely not. There's no way.
But I mean, it's a huge advantage for
It
them
is,
to
definitely.
go right into
Be
the
able
meat.
React to if your down one hits and then you get to post up your offense.
Not even that. It's terrifying. The reason why it sucks to be close to some of these characters. It doesn't suck to be close to Liu Kang because, and I've heard Silver Eye say this a lot. People overstate why Liu Kang is good, and not that he's not good, but all the reasons they give is not what sucks to fight some of these characters. You're terrified to be close to them, not because they're staggers or whatever, or even the speed of their move necessarily, like in the neutral. You're terrified because you're like, Jesus Christ, man. As soon as the second I block anything they do, they're going to mash down one or jump to make sure I do nothing but down one.
Right.
You don't get any meat, right? You have to guess twice to get any meat, right?
Right.
But they only have to guess once.
Right.
And that's the
Well,
problem. And
In
you're
the
more
game-
terrified.
in the game, the characters that don't have those quick mids, the things that they're supposed to be good at, like the game just doesn't cater to. I agree.
It doesn't cater to that. That's my point.
Well,
and that's where the imbalance is.
Well, I think Tom, you said it perfectly, and I think we talked privately about this. Some of these characters literally have low pokes that juggle, right? I mean, you think about it, like Kitana's down one is 9 frames, but
Her
guess
down
what?
4, down 3 juggles.
No, I'm talking about like down one is 9 frames, which is one of our main pokes. But then you have like Jackie, Jax, Liu Kang.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there you go.
do you understand? Like those things are 9 frames too, but they lead into combos. I completely understand your argument and I agree with 100% about it. But guys, if you look at the tier list people are making, just look at the mids. Like literally, it goes down from the best mids for the most part to the worst mids on the lower end. That's really what the game is about. If you really think
But
about
fighting games have always been that way. I think this is going to be the
it.
exception.
Well, the thing is like it's like Slip said, the game doesn't really cater to like to other like like what archetypes, exactly. That's the word I was looking for. So it's hard to win if you're Zona because it's hard to keep the guard away. If you're a rushdown character, if unless you, to me, like if you're trying to use a command throw character, why would you ever use Kotal Khan and Kano? You're literally wasting your time when Geras and New X literally do everything better. Like they have the mids and the command throws. Why would you bother with those two characters at the bottom?
And the counter zoning.
And the counter zoning is usually very, very strong. And I mean, I gave up complaining about them a long time ago, but the point is, it's 100% true that the game revolves around like mids. The better, the faster, the more damage you get from your mid, the chances of your character being top tier is very, very likely, and that's kind of what the game is about. But I do think that's related to the variation system. So I can't have my zoning character because if I pick the zoning variation, I fucking lose another whole option, that I'm not allowed to have. So I'm stuck with another, if I have ground eruption, I'm stuck with I'm stuck with the, useless ass, enhanced sculpt that doesn't really, it's completely pointless, doesn't really do anything, Whereas maybe I could pick a smoke, smoke shake and have a variation that's super zoning, very anti zoning, but I can't have that. So I think it's kind of related to that,
Yeah, the variation system
I'm saying it's
produced incomplete characters, which gives you less freedom to create, less options.
But I do think it's also related to the point that it kind of goes around. It's related to the to your point about lack of depth. You can't have a character that exceeds a certain aspect, so you're just stuck literally playing up close in this like up close meta. I think Gears really I think to me at least describes it the best way. You're supposed to, at forward 2-1-2, you're minus, he's a -3, but if he does a down one, it comes out of 9 frames. So you can't do your fastest mid because you have to respect that. But there's always a chance he can throw you afterwards, or he can flawless block it and juggle you. And it's like, you know what? This is just lame. Like I'm tired of fucking playing this over and over again. I know this very well because I'm playing King Jr. all the time, and I'm sick of that meta. So I do understand it. But guys, we are past our time, and I'm trying to wrap it up. Trying to keep the show on time because that's what people want to see. Is there anything else you guys want to add real quick to the conversation? Anything?
Yeah, there's one thing I want to
Go
say.
ahead.
What do you guys think the games gonna be here from now, like in terms of numbers? Like, what do you see happening?
Minus
like Evo next year.
At least 1,000, maybe 900 people less. It was not
It's gonna
MKX.
grow.
MKX had lost 800 people from year 1 to year 2. So did Injustice 2. I mean,
Well, Tom, let me just say this. I'm sure you'll agree too.
no, I'm not trying to bash the game. I'm just saying fighting games start at a peak, and then ideally, for the most part, they start at their all-time high. And
Yeah.
then they go down. That's fighting games are different from a lot of other games. Unfortunately, right now we're the only fighting game that does that. The rest of them seem to be going up.
Yeah,
Well, to be-
Tekken's going up.
Well,
I'm
I mean,
ho-
that's
I'm
what I was
hoping-
Street Fighter
gonna
went
say.
Tekken
down.
has been
Tekken went up.
blooming.
That's what I
Yeah,
was gonna say.
I'm
I don't.
hoping that's different for this game.
Tekken has been
I
blooming
would love
everywhere.
to see 2,000 people for Mortal Kombat 11 at Evo. That's
That's not gonna happen. But I was just gonna say that.
wishful thinking, maybe, but I would love to see it.
Well, I was just gonna comment because somebody mentioned Tekken 7. This game ain't gonna be no Tekken 7. Let's be serious here. Like Tekken 7 is a rare example of a game actually getting more numbers as the game
Yeah, I
progresses.
mean, fighting. And one more thing, and Flips, here's what I want to say. I'm so tired of people are saying this is growing, that's growing, because you ever notice, Slips, when they talk about growth, they only use Evo numbers. And I know you noticed that.
Yeah.
Evo numbers are
Okay.
bullshit. Because Evo numbers factor in people who couldn't care less about playing anything. They only go to Evo because it's Evo and they enter.
That's
Evo
true.
numbers, Slips, and you know this, do not translate to any tournament outside of Evo. Can we agree?
Probably.
Do you know why that is? Because they're inflated numbers.
What's your
Yes.
point, though?
My point is that fighting games in general, no matter what game it is, except Tekken 7 is a rarity, they start at a peak and then they all go down. So to say a game is going to have less, because you're in the NetherRealm community and you know what I mean, everything is an insult or a shot fired. You can't walk down the street without insulting somebody. Because on your podcast with King Hip,
God.
but they start at a peak, so it's going to go down. And I would like it to go up, obviously, but most of the time that's what happens. Fighting games don't hold the casual's attention like so many other games, because fighting games, I mean, how many times can you lose 20 in a row and, you know what I mean, say, oh yeah, this was fun. A lot of casuals don't like it. They don't like the direct competition. So I see it definitely going down. Again, I would like to see it go up, and your point is, Tekken 7 is a rarity, which is true. So I would say it's going to go down, although I would love to see the opposite.
All right. I mean, that's fair enough. Well, guys, I want to wrap it up. I want to thank everybody for taking their time and being here. I want to give a special thanks to Slips, man. It's so good to have you. Hopefully, you become a regular. Are you down or what?
Yeah, man. Just whenever you guys are doing it, let me know. I'm down.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be awesome to have Slips become regular.
Yeah.
We usually do this like every month.
Yeah.
We try to do once a month. So
And real quick, for the people that are watching that think I went too hard on King Hippo, let me just give a disclaimer. I actually
You actually what?
I actually do like King Hippo, but I mean, come on, man. I was
He hasn't said anything in a while, man.
I
Give him
know,
a
but
break.
hold on a minute. I'm sitting there just playing my D3, and Dave says, Tom, I want you to listen to something. He plays me the podcast. He plays me a podcast in which all I was doing was playing devil's advocate to Rio. Like, when I was going in on there. Actually, Rio opened the line of questioning, and he asked me the question. I was answering the question he asked me.
Yeah.
And I hear your partner in crime say, and it's the same motherfuckers who eat greens and vegetables, living healthy every day of their life, unlike myself, and they suck at the game, And King Hippo is like King Hippo is like roasting me for no reason, and I'm like, I just don't understand.
Tom, I can't believe you're bringing this up again, man.
And I'm
He
bringing it
hasn't
up.
Said anything.
I know, but I'm bringing it up because he said I sucked at.
Yeah.
You can kiss my ass, bitch, because I
Oh
just
my
did.
God, dude. Tom, he has
Slips, you can't go on a podcast, say no one's going to play ever again, and then say, I don't know why he would blow me up after he did it again. Come on, man. You just can't. Just friendly banter, man. That's all. Just for the entertainment.
Tom,
Just for the lulls, man. Because you know what it is?
I respect that, but here's the thing.
My
though.
supporters were like, man, you got to say something to somebody. Top 8. I was like, well, who am I going to say something? too, and I was like, I know just the one. So in
That's
honor,
true.
so in
That's
honor of my friend Dave, today's Fool of the Week is
Oh my God, Tom's doing the Fool of the Week segment. What the fuck?
is King Hippo for
All right,
nerfing low gunshot. No, I'm joking.
You know what, sir? I grant you the fucking right to do that. You deserve it. You do.
Yeah.
You do fair enough. Well, on that funny note, let me end the show. Thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you comment, give us some feedback because we do take your feedback into consideration.